Last year, I gave JerseyBird a 6-year timeline to reach the 2030 FIFA World Cup, and it has now been 1 year and we've made virtually no progress. If you're new to the channel, Road to the World Cup is a series documenting our efforts to reach the 2030 tournament. After our first national team contract with the Philippines ended in 2023, we have not been able to find a new one. And honestly, there are a couple reasons for that. First off, obviously, it's pretty hard to sign national teams. And secondly, if we do make progress in discussion with a national team, it's not like we can just go post a video about it because most of those talks are private and you can't really share anything until the deal is done. So even if we are making progress, it's pretty hard to share that. We can really only update when we actually sign contracts. So the entire series is kind of flawed from the start, but yeah, we're still working very hard on it and we hope to have something soon. I still think it's a great series. I mean, there's no way you can fake this content. You either sign teams or you don't. And like I said, we're still working hard on it, just haven't had any major updates yet. But today I have an emergency press conference. Something very interesting came to my attention and I wanted to get this video up as soon as possible because the Kenyan Football Federation is hosting a design contest, which, as some of you might know, Kenya is one of our strongest international relationships right now because we own 50% of a club there, Kawa Pride FC, and we've worked within the country since mid-2023. So I knew we should give this a try, even if all that comes from it is a discussion with the federation or even just some excitement amongst the fans. It can't hurt, and hopefully we could land some kind of meeting with the federation. And our first national team contract came from a concept video on TikTok, so why not give it another shot? So the deadline on the actual kit contest was April 15th. And I'm currently filming this on April 26th, but we made sure to get something submitted on the 15th. We just posted it on our short form channels. And as of right now, I think we got around 670,000 views across both of those videos, and we're still waiting on the winner to be announced, but yeah, we're feeling pretty good about it because it seemed to be received pretty well by the fans. So with that being said, let's get into our kit designs. We made a home and away kit for this one just to give ourselves the best possible chance of getting a contract. And before we start, shout out to Alessio for these designs. One of our top designers. You've seen a ton of his work. He was behind the Philippines kits as well, and I think he did a great job with these Kenyan kits. Starting off with the shirt template, we went with this raglan sleeve construction with a back panel connecting to the collar and a no collar kind of style on the front. For the fabric, we chose to go with Bird Pro V1, a very common choice for many of our other pro clubs. And for the home kit, we started with a solid red bead pattern across the entire shirt. Beads are a pretty important cultural piece of Kenya that tie all of the 41 counties together. It's a universal piece of culture that does make sense for a national team concept because it taps into so many different communities. Most people think of the Maasai beads, but other communities like the Samburu, Turkana, and Kikuyu all have their own styles and traditions when it comes to beadwork. So yeah, not only is it a great visual aspect for the kit, but it also makes sense culturally. We continue this pattern onto the sleeves as well, before referencing Kenya's geometric textiles along the collar and cuffs with a green pattern on both. Once the cuffs were complete, we moved on to the back, applying the bead pattern again, then moved on to the shorts and made them predominantly red with 2 white stripes. Socks were also red, so we completed an entirely red kit. Then we came back to the shirt, added our logo, the national team crest, the Kenyan flag in between them, and a front number, then a name and number on the back of the shirt, along with the shield, which appears on Kenya's coat of arms and their flag on the back of the neck. And that was all for the home kit. Now moving on to the away kit, we wanted to balance the full red home kit out with a completely white away kit. So we started with a solid white base, and our inspiration actually began with a specific artist, Joseph Cartoon, who was born in 1976 in Nigeria, Kenya. With no formal artistic education, he developed his entirely own art style comprised of semi-abstract, ornamental, pattern-rich, and colorful style of painting, which made for a great football kit inspiration. We constructed our own variation of his artwork in our own style, adding it across the shirt in a gray and white color scheme, also including it on both sleeves before also adding it to the back of the shirt. Then along the collar and cuffs, we added the same pattern from the home kit, then also added matching logos and a front number in red. For the shorts, we left them white with green stripes, and we completed the kit with the player name and number on the back, along with another shield emblem on the back of the neck. And that's pretty much all for this kit. Kenya, if you're watching this, give us a call. We know you're in the market for a new manufacturer, and we'd love to work with you. And as far as where we stand with our road to the World Cup, we are aware of the Zimbabwe competition that is currently ongoing, which we are looking at, and we have several other smaller nations on our radar. And remember, phase 1 of this plan is to sign any team. It does not have to be a contender for the 2030 World Cup. First, we have to prove ourselves with a smaller nation, and smaller nations are just easier to sign. So we're actually looking for smaller nations. We'll prove ourselves there, and then in a couple of years, hopefully we're in a better position to sign a larger, real contender for the 2030 tournament. And as always, if your club is looking for new kits and apparel, start a project with us. It only takes a couple minutes, and we will make the best possible kits for your club. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for supporting the channel. And without further ado, here are the 2025 Kenya home and away kits by JerseyBird.